What is up, guys? This is Mystery, and today I'm gonna show you how to render like a pro, okay? So at the beginning, for the first tutorial, I showed you guys how to make a Minecraft scene in Blender, and it was pretty decent, but there were a few things that you could brush up on, such as the lighting and editing. So in order to get your Blender scene from what I showed you before to this is an example of what I've rendered. It's my own skin, and I basically just edited it a bunch, and now look how amazing it looks, right? So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's going to be using a few things. So first of all, I need to show you guys how to import characters. And characters, there's a rig. You can probably just get a rig from online if you want to, but for this tutorial I'm just going to use a very simple basic player rig. I didn't make it. I have no idea where I got it from, but I just remember getting it from the internet somewhere and I cannot find it anywhere. But I'll put a link to this. Just warning you, it's not mine, so credit to whoever made it. If you want to claim it, I can put it in the description. So you just have to open the basic player rig that I put in the description, and it's going to load for a sec, and then it is going to show this. So this is some random skin. I don't even know where I got this from either, but first of all, before we start this is just a rig, but I'm going to show you guys how to actually organize your stuff like a pro. I know that sounds pretty weird, but this is what I do if you want to be a renderer. So first I'm just going to quit this, and this is in my, I have an entire folder called commissions where I keep all of my rendering stuff, and I have a bunch of different things. For example, I have my projects, my outcomes, my rigs, and my skins. So I'm just going to I would put my rig in the rig folder. So first I'm going to copy that, and by do Command C, of course. I'm going to go to projects and create a new project. I have a folder for each project. I'm going to call it, I'll call it Wobble Walrus, because I'm going to be making a skin for him in this tutorial. So I'm going to paste the player rig in there, and I'm going to rename it to Wobble Walrus, and I'm going to open it. And there you go. That's how I organize my stuff. So here it is. This is our basic layout. I'm going to go to my tab and I'm going to download his skin. Okay, so just click View Skin. It's going to be here. I use MinecraftSkinStealer.com if you want to see where you get the skin. So make sure you download the skin of who you want to render. And we're going to save image to downloads. And that's all done. I'm going to close that up, and I'm going to go to my downloads. Actually, I have it right over here, and I'm going to copy that. Actually, I might even just copy and then delete it so I don't have to make clutter. I'll paste it over here, and as you can see, it's all set up. So now for this tutorial, for this for this rig, you can only use 1.7 skins. So in order to fix this, you're going to go into any photo editor. I'm using Preview right now, and you just drag until you have 64 by 32, as you can see on the top right, and the rest is the 1.8 skin stuff. So all you have to do is Command K to crop it, and there you go, you have a 1.7 skin. Now a few things might be missing from it, but I think this is fine. So we're going to save it and quit, and now you have your 1.7 skin. So now you're going to go back to Blender, and you're going to go to this little tab over here that has the skin, right? The current skin is right over here, and we're going to replace it. So all you have to do is hit Image, Replace Image, and then you're going to find where it is. So I'm going to go Commissions, Projects, Wobble Walrus, and Wobble Walrus.png, and there you go, you have the skin. So I'm going to close this tab now because we don't need it by dragging. Of course, if you go like this, you just drag and it will put a little arrow right here, and then you just let go, and that's how you do it. Alright, so of course, if you don't know how to use Blender, you should probably watch my other tutorial before you watch this, just so you get the basics of how to move and such. So this is just a very basic pose that I have. I'm not sure if this stuff is broken. I will show you guys how to fix it in a bit later. So first of all, this is our skin. What we're going to do is make it pose. Okay, so we're going to have a cool pose, and for that pose, I don't know what you can choose. I'm just gonna do a cool looking pose, and I won't include an item in this tutorial just yet. If you go to this little thing down here, it shows the view. It's normally in texture. You're gonna go to render just to see what it's gonna look like. You're not gonna have a white background normally. We're gonna edit that later. But for now, this is what our view is gonna look like. So you're gonna go back to texture, and each of these little things are bones. And bones are basically self-explanatory. If you move them, for example, if I hit R and then move my mouse, you can move the entire player stuff and hit escape to cancel. So I'm going to make him look like he's surprised and kind of defensive. Okay, so it's almost like that already. I'm going to first of all rotate his body just like this by hitting R and then X. And then bending down, so it looks like he's bending down. And then let's see, I'm going to spread his legs, so by hitting R, then maybe a bit more R. I'm going to turn this one R. Actually, no. I'm going to turn it this way on the x-axis. Yeah. And maybe rotate it like that by hitting R twice. And I'm going to speed up the video right here, and once I'm done finishing the pose, I will get back. See ya. Alright, I think we're done. So now, I have like a decent pose. What I want to teach you guys also for this is that you shouldn't be showing the feet. I know some people think it looks good, but if you have show someone with their feet standing on absolutely nothing, it doesn't look very realistic, and the viewers don't get a sense that you're looking at a real image. And the more real it looks, the more cool it looks, right? So we're gonna try and make this look like a pose. So he's sort of looking at the camera right now. What I just did is I moved the camera. Let me redo that. So make sure the camera is centered. Here, let me give you a checklist. So make sure the feet aren't showing, first of all. This is the camera. By the way, you can go hit 0 on the numpad to go into camera mode. And then Shift F, you can pan around and go around like I showed you in the other tutorial in order to look direct. In order to change the camera value, sorry. And then if I want to move it to the left, so I want him centered, I'm gonna hit G, make sure the camera's selected, hit G, and then move my mouse until he's centered, just like that. Alright, so that should be it. I'm going to now put this in rendered view, and it looks pretty good. We can zoom in a tiny bit so we don't get the connotation that his legs are in the picture, and it looks pretty good. It looks like he's fighting, right? Alright, so on to our next step. Almost done. We're going to extrude, and extruding is kind of buggy. Alright, we're back, and this seems to be fixed for the skin. I'll probably just fix that for you in the actual rig. Alright, so now we're going to extrude. So if you have a character that can be extruded, meaning that like you can make some part of his skin 3D, which would not normally be in Minecraft, then this is what you do. Okay, so first hit tab, you're in edit mode here, and you have this guy's face, right? This is the hat. So this is the outer hat, as you can see if you're selecting the outer hat, and then this is the inner hat. You can't really select it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna subdivide. So by right clicking this face, make sure you're in face mode down here. You're gonna hit W, subdivide, and you're gonna do that 3 times, and that's gonna make each face a little pixel, right? So now you're going to select all of the pixels by holding shift and right clicking each of the transparent pixels if you want to edit something on the actual face. If you want to edit something on the hat, I'll show you in just a sec. So you're going to right click all of these. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yes, that is. Okay, and then you're going to hit X faces. And now there should be a place where you can right click his head, right? Okay, now you're gonna hit W subdivide one more time, do it 3 times, and now you have your special pixels over here. So now, all you have to do in order to extrude is, let's say I want to extrude the eyes, or extrude is also intruding as well. You right click the eyes, I would do all 4 of them, that's just me, and you're gonna hit E and move it just in a tiny bit. Alright, so now it looks like his eyes are actually inside. And I'm actually going to move these 2 faces out a tiny bit so it looks like his eyeballs are a bit more extruded than normal. Okay, so now there's a few buggy things. You see how, ooh, I don't like these bones. So if you want to get around the bones, you can just pan around. Do you see how these 2 should be skin colored, but they're actually different? That's a bug with Blender in this rig. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. So first you're going to right click these faces. You're going to come all the way over here, and this shows where they are actually on the skin. So what you can do is just hit G and move it down a tiny bit. And maybe you can scale it down if you want. And now look, if you come here, they're all fixed. So basically what I just did is I moved these 2, basically this render is connected to the skin in a way that I just changed, basically. Sorry for my wording, it's pretty bad, but if you basically change the relation from the skin to the actual file where it isn't on default, then it will change. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to move that. I might actually make this skin color, so I'm going to scale this down and move it right here. That should about do it, and then I'll bring this one, should be brown, right? So I'm going to just scale it down, move it over here. This one should be skin. I think this one should also be skin. So I'm just going to scale it down, and I'll put it right over here. So now we sort of have extruded eyes, but I'm going to fix it on this side too. So right click, right click, right click. I'm just going to select all of them at the same time. Let's see. Ooh, these bones are getting on my nerves. No way to fix that, I don't think. There we go. Sort of got it. And right click. I can zoom in and right click that. And now it's all selected. You can scale it down. Put it right there. Anywhere you want. And I think that eye is already automatically fixed. And now if we hit tab again, and we can sort of see, not very, but just slightly, that his eyes are extruded. So that's pretty cool. And I'm gonna extrude his eyebrows because that's also a thing you can extrude. You guys can totally skip this if you want, but I think it's pretty cool. So I'm just gonna extrude them like this much, and right click all of its faces. And you don't have to do it for all the faces, just the ones that are visible. So I'll do that. I think that one's already good, and these 2. Oops, that's good. And now we can just zoom it out and put it right there. And voila! We have extruded eyebrows as well. Hit 0 to go back into the camera mode and you can render it. And it looks semi-extruded. So I think that's good for now. So what we're going to do now, I think we're all done with the rendering part, but now the best part comes, which is the editing. So first of all, I've already preset render dimensions for you, which should be 2500 by 2500 pixels at 100%. If you want to do a profile picture, that's probably the best because Blender rendering, it will look better if it's larger, and then you can scale it down later. Okay, so let's render and then render image. It should take a few seconds. I'll be right back once it's done. Alright, we're done. So this is what our image looks like. I know you can't really see these extruded features, but on different images where he would be facing a different direction, you would be able to see these extruded things. So now you're going to hit image, save as image, and you're going to find your commission project. I've already have it selected. So I'm gonna just call this not edited, because we're gonna have multiple files. So I'm gonna call it not edited.png, save as image, and there you go. Now all you have to do is hit escape, go back. You can do Command S to save it, and click, and now you're done. So I can close off Blender now. Alright, so now we have our non-edited.png right over here, and you're going to open this with any program that can edit images, like such as paint.net, but I'm using Preview for Macs. This is probably the best application. So you're going to want to open up your toolbar by going to I think it's View, and then it would see hide markup toolbar or show markup toolbar. I just did Shift Command A as the shortcut, and then you're gonna click on the instant alpha, and you're gonna click and drag all the white, and you're gonna click and drag even if it's selected red. You're gonna click and drag, keep dragging until the actual thing is selected, and you don't want that, so you're gonna click and drag back until you just have the white and nothing else. Okay. So that should be good. Now it's gonna highlight. It's gonna do all these like weird dotted lines. Just hit delete, and now you have a transparent background. So you're gonna save it and quit. So now you have a transparent background. So now for the fun part is editing. We're going to go into GIMP. I'm using GIMP. You guys could use Photoshop, but I think GIMP is the best. Especially I don't really know how to use Photoshop too well because I don't have it. So GIMP is open. If you haven't downloaded this, I'll put this in the description. So now we're going to hit Command O to open and go to find your commissions folder, projects, Wobbler Walrus, and then not edited. Open it, and you have your wonderful render right here. So all these checkered lines won't actually show up in the real image. So what we're gonna do is so first of all, make sure you have your layers dialog up here because we're going to be using that. I'll give you a full tutorial on layers if you want to. So we're going to first of all create a background for this. And I know I showed you guys how to make a background before in the last tutorial, but I think that rendering a background that's interactive with this actual image isn't the best idea if we're going to edit it. So I think I'm just going to find one online, or you can create your own background with a shader screenshot, or even render it. So I'm going to go to images.google.com. I think since this guy is sort of darker skinned, I can use a darker sort of image. Alright, so I'm going to search Minecraft background. I'm going to do night, and let's see what it shows up. So there's a bunch of awesome images we can use, and I want you to find one that's bigger than 1920 by 1080. It should be, actually it should be probably, 1920 by 1080 is probably the best. So I think this one looks pretty good. I'm going to click on View Image. You can choose any one, it doesn't have to be that. And I'm going to click Open Image in New Tab, close this one, and I'm just going to save this to downloads. You can choose any image, of course. Alright, I'm going to close that tab, go to Downloads, which is right over here. I'm going to drag this into my commissions folder because I'm going to put all the files that I use in this folder. I'll call this background.jpg. I'm going to go back to GIMP. We're going to basically drag and drop this right onto our, whoopsie. I think GIMP just crashed on me. Let me try and launch this again and get back to the same spot. Okay, we're back, guys. So I found the problem. I think I was dragging into this dialog instead of onto the layers. So make sure if this crashes, just drag it into the layer section over here. And make sure you constantly save your project because I've had this happen where GIMP crashes. I have no idea why. I'm sorry about that. But so what we're going to do now, we have our project, and layers are basically self-explanatory. There are different layers to images, so this is why we made our dude transparent, the not edited, is because the background, so we can have like different images behind it. So now you can see that we sort of have our background over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to So it automatically created a new layer for us called background.jpg, and we're just going to scale this background. So make sure this is selected. I'm going to scale it to, you can just do it approximately where there's a good background. And once you're done, hit scale. I'm just going to do this a few times. It looks pretty good. I'm going to do this one more time. So make sure it fully covers the background. And make sure the make sure the sorry, I cannot talk today. Make sure the image fully covers the background, and make sure yes. Okay, and I'm just gonna move this a tiny bit by clicking on this move button. I think that looks pretty good. So this isn't gonna this is not how it's going to look, but I think this looks decent for now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna edit our background first. So I'm gonna click on this eye and it's gonna make a hide the not edited. And actually, before I do that, I'm gonna make this visible again. I'm just gonna save it because I know this might crash. So I'm gonna save it, and it's already selected. I'm gonna call this final.xcf. So this is a GIMP file. I'm gonna save it. Awesome. So now we're gonna unhide this one more time, and I'm going to GIMP has a bunch of awesome features that we can use, filters and different other things. So I'm just going to right click this, and I'm going to click on hover over colors, and it's going to have a huge list of what we can do. And basically what I do is I just play with this, and you don't have to watch the tutorial, but if you want to see what I do, I just do a few different things with these color editing to make it look good. So first I'm going to do like color balance, and maybe this will change. This automatically previews, if you can see in the yeah, I don't think this will help very much, so I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna do colors, maybe hue saturation. No, you can just experiment with different things. So I'm gonna experiment, and I'll be back. Alright, so I've edited the background a tiny bit, so make sure that your editing makes the background not as important as your main image, because you want people focusing on your image and not on the background, right? So I've kind of made this dark so it looks like a nice background, but the main image is the big focus, right? So now I'm going to, first of all, select on this background, and I'm going to sort of, I'm gonna add a little border on the back, and this is sort of up to you. So I'm gonna go to filters, I'm gonna go to, I think it's beautify border, and then texture border, and they have a nice set of borders that you can use. So they kind of take a bit to load, but this one isn't obviously the best, but I think I normally use this one, and it has like sort of a grungy effect. Um, I think that looks good. So you see, but this is white, and we wanted to make it a dark, so we're going to use border color. We're just going to go to a sort of darkish blue. That's what I normally use. I don't know why my computer is being so laggy today. Sorry about that. I think that's good. Let's look at that. This is sort of, the rips are sort of camouflaging, so I might want to do a different color. Let's try not so dark. Yeah, I think that looks better. So now you can see it's already starting to look better. I'm gonna hit OK, and OK. Now we'll apply the effect. Awesome. I think I'm gonna add one more border. I'm not sure if I'll do this now or later, but I'm gonna experiment. I'm gonna do simple border, I think. And the simple borders, I normally use this one, which is transparent. I don't think I'll do this just yet. So I'm going to close that. And now we sort of have it looking pretty good. Now we're going to ignore the background and we're going to go to the image. So I'm going to click on the image layer and we're going to right click it, and this is where all the magic happens. I'm going to just experiment with these, and this time I'll actually show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to go with brightness contrast. I'm going to make it a bit darker. Yeah, I think that looks good. Maybe contrast a bit higher. No, I could make it, yeah, I think that looks better. Just so you can see where yeah, I think that looks good. Too much. I think that looks good. Okay, I will hit OK, and that will apply the effect. I'll do this one more time. Colors, maybe levels. I can adjust these maybe. No, I think I don't normally like levels. Let me go to colors. I'll try curves because that sometimes is fun. So we can make it a bit darker. This is honestly up to you. You can just play with the colors tab until you think it looks good. So now that I've said that, I'm just going to let you guys play with it, and I'll be back once I'm done. Alright, now once you've done that, you could also, if you want to, you could go to filters and use all these different filters. What I normally do is I do enhance and sharpen, and I just experiment to see if it looks good. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm just going to make sure I expand this fully, and this is kind of buggy, but it opens up like this. And if this doesn't look good, I basically just sharpen it to make things look a bit more, how do you call it? Interesting. Let me try doing, instead of sharpen, I can go to filters, enhance, and EAW sharpen, which I think is in, oh, found it, here you go. And I can open this up and go over here. So I'm gonna make it go like that much. Just play with these buttons and see what you like. You know what, I'll try this for now and see how it looks. And I can always undo it if I don't need to, if I don't want to. Actually, I don't think this will look good on this sort of a dark image, but you guys know, if you think if it's a lighter image and it looks good, then you can totally do that. Now also, I think I'm going to blur the background. I'm not sure if this will look good, but I will try it. So this is in filters, blur, and I think this Gaussian blur, whatever I call it, looks good. Maybe it will. Yeah, I think that looks better. Let me try and make it a bit bigger. Yeah, I think that looks even better. Let me try it. These always take a long time since it's heavy image editing. Yeah, that looks even better. So I think we'll use that. And make sure you keep saving constantly by doing Command S. And I think this is already starting to look pretty decent. So I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to add 2 more layers. I'll explain why in just a second, okay? So you're going to hit create a new layer and make sure it's transparent, so you hit OK, and you're going to drag it, make sure it's right above the background, and do one more, and you're going to make it right above on the very top. Okay, so you're going to click on this one. You're just going to remove these two, and you see if there's anything that's like standing out, such as a sun or a moon, just like this, I would recommend making this stand out even more by using a airbrush. So you're going to click on the airbrush tool over here. You're going to select the color that it is. For example, this moon is white. So I'm just going to go onto this little toolbox over here. If it's not here, Windows, recently closed, or dockable dialogues, and find the tool options. So this is the tool options. You're just going to bring it up so it covers the moon, and just experiment. I'm gonna click on this once and see how it looks, and it looks like it's sort of shining already. I'm gonna press and hold Now that's too much. Let me try making this a bit darker and pressing and hold. Or I could outline it like that. Anything works. I think that looks good. So now, as you can see, the moon is sort of glowing. Now if we put these two back on, it looks pretty decent already. And now the best part, which I think makes it always look better, is editing the actual guy by making him a different, like you're making parts of him stand out more. So as you can see, the brighter parts you should probably outline even more. So I'm going to hold Command and right click, or sorry, left click. Make sure you're selecting this not edited layer. Hold Command and left click, and you're going to get the color of what you just click. So click on the skin color, and I would just sort of airbrush it by clicking and dragging, and that makes it glow. So I think that looks pretty decent. It's already glowing. I would outline his face a bit even more. That was too much. I think that looks good. So just outline. I shouldn't go next to parts on his face unless needed. Just Control Z if you need to. And I think that looks good. I'm going to do the white part. I'm going to make it a bit whiter. And each time you click it will get increasingly brighter. And now these two. Awesome. And I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think that is our final image, guys. So that was the last step. If you want to add anything extra or different, all you have to do is just go to these filters. You can play with these filters. It's really fun. Right click and hit colors. You could also use these. And that's it, guys. So make sure you save it. And now finally, in order to get the final image, you would go to export, and you would make it a PNG and call it final.png, and just hit export. It's going to take a long time. Oh, make sure you just hit export over here. You don't have to change any of those unless you want to. And it's going to take a long time because this is such a huge image. And there you go. So now we should go into Finder and we can see that it looks pretty good. Now what I would do is I would open it and I would hit Tools, Adjust Size, and this is, you can adjust the size however you want, and I would just make it 1000 by 1000 just because 2500 is a bit too big. And I'll just save it, and I think that looks pretty good, guys. You can do Command 9 if you're on a Mac, and that will make it just the size of the screen, and that looks pretty good. We'll go into full screen. Yep. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and thanks for watching.